Welcome to Voices of Overwatch.
Hi, everybody. You ready for more voice actors? Hello. It's so exciting. It's so crazy to think I get to do this again. Who was here for the WoW panel earlier? I can't stop talking about it. I literally think it might be my most one of my many exciting moments here. It was great. And now, to do that, take a break, eat lunch, and come back with Overwatch actors? Are you kidding me right now? I'm so excited. What'd you guys do? You've been walking around doing the demo stations? Anything exciting? Just being cool and having fun? Yeah, sitting right there. Oh my gosh, you're dedicated. I love you. So everybody, I think you guys are so tired of me talking, but for those who don't know, my name is Andrea Toyas, Senior Casting and Voice Director, blah, 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 blah. So it's been my great pleasure. I mean, it's been bananas to work on. I love you too. Thank you. It's been my great pleasure to work on Overwatch. I mean, you guys know the story. Before we released it, we're like, is anybody gonna like this game for real? Who was here when Metzen announced Overwatch? We had no idea. We're like, they might hate it. We don't know. And now it's gone cuckoo pants, right? Like it's bananas. And I love it. And I think to be on this main stage to celebrate our great Overwatch talent is gonna be amazing. So I wanna stop talking so I can bring my great actors out. But if you were here earlier, you know, and for those who weren't, that I have gifts, right? Yet again. So, and just pretend you didn't see the shtick earlier. Act like you don't know what's about to happen, okay? But for those who weren't here, my little thing that I tell everybody, even throughout the year, is that BlizzCon is better than Christmas for me. So with that, I got gifts for as many of you as I can. And there are these little buttons that I personally had made for you that says Blizzard's VO Guild. It's just a little cool thing that I had made for you because I love you. And I mean, as I keep saying to every panel, I would not be standing here right now if it wasn't for all of you. So I can never tell you how much I love you and never tell you how much I thank you. So, all right, ready for my shtick? Act like you didn't hear it earlier, okay? Oh, I wish I knew how to throw things at audience members. I wish I...
Buttons! Buttons! Here's the buttons! Reinhardt needs buttons! Thank you! Buttons! Wow! Buttons! 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 Buttons for everyone! Buttons for selected people! Buttons for someone! This is the craziest! Payload delivered! Buttons! Buttons! Buttons!
Wow.
Buttons! Buttons! Bye-bye!
Are that all, Darren? Is it empty?
We're all out. I see you next year. Have a good panel.
Let's clap for
Bye-bye.
fun. Thank you, Darren. Oh, my God. I think the true gift is that I had Darren come out and throw things in your face. So that's the true gift I just gave to you. I want to say this again for anybody who didn't get buttons. I mean, I wish I had $1 million. I had 1,000 made, people. That's all. I don't get paid that much. That's what I could afford, okay? Just kidding. You're welcome. For those who didn't get any, find me later. I'm carrying some with me for those who didn't get any, so find me and I'll give them to you. And for those at home, I saved some at the office. You can tweet at me and I'll send you buttons. It's my gift to you. This is the 7th year we've done the voice actor stage, and I want to say I love you and thank you for everything. Thank you. So, enough about me and blah, blah, blah. Let's get the party started. Who's ready? You ready? Well, let's start. You know, there's a person that's going to come out first that I wouldn't even be here because without him, there would probably be no game. And that's my fabulous good friend, crazy good writer, Mr. Michael Chu. Yay, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you for coming out. Oh my gosh, I think you're right here. Perfect. No, he's rad. So I love playing this game. Who do you think might be next? Yes, to all those. How about somebody I think you might be vaguely familiar with? I don't know, maybe that would be Symetra.
The cake is not allowed.
Hi, love. Perfect. Cool. Next guest. Oh man, I love me some Doomfist. But I know, don't get excited. No, how about, they're all great. We love them all. How about Roadhog? Wait for it. I love you. Oh my God. So fun. Oh my God. I think we should ask for like a 3 hour. We need to ask for like a 3-hour Overwatch panel. We could do this all day. Really. I mean, to have you guys here. All right. So, next. I feel like I'm doing a dating game. Who's Bachelor number 2? Like, what do you think? All right. How about this one? How about, you might know this character. I'm not sure.
Always consult your doctor before engaging in strenuous activity.
What? Did you say Mercy?
Hello?
Hey.
That's funny.
Hello!
Hi. Right there
That's
next to
long timer.
You can go the long way. That's fine too. That's great.
Oh my God, where am I going?
It's all about you, girl. Right over there. Perfect. All right. Next. I love it. I love asking you. And I wish someday, somebody at lunch was asking, can we do a panel, Michael? We got to do this where all the heroes are here. Right? Yeah. Right? That would be amazing.
We need a lot of sofas.
It'd be like a 4-hour panel, but we got time. It's just BlizzCon. We got time. Okay, I love this person so much. This character is very crucial to me. I adore this character. That is Zenyatta.
Yeah.
Eventually, all become one with the universe.
Oh my gosh, I love you. So, what? So rock and roll. So rock and roll. That's so rock and roll. All right, let's see. 2 more spots left. Well, I love you guys. This is so, and Michael, we can even say every year we have to sit and arm wrestle who we're going to bring. It's very difficult.
It is.
It's really hard. We arm wrestle a lot at lunch. But I mean, we couldn't do BlizzCon this year without Batiste.
The good news is you're going to make it, but I wouldn't look in the mirror anytime soon.
Oh,
I love you, baby.
that voice. Oh my God. All right, last character of the day. Again, come on, there's so many great characters, and we absolutely had to complete this BlizzCon with Sigma. Yeah.
I don't think you understand the gravity of this situation.
This guy. Hello.
Wow.
Let's clap for our whole cast. That's so great. So great. Oh. This is so cool. And for those who were here earlier, for those who weren't, if you've seen our other Overwatch panels, they've always been kind of behind a table and all that. But I really wanted to make it like we're all hanging out having coffee together. So hence we got our cool couches. So I really like this more intimate thing. I wish we could all, I kind of want to say take our shoes off and sit on the floor, but I'm not going to do that. But I kind of want to make it feel like that because we're all family, man. We've all been through so much.
Yeah.
So much.
So much. It's been amazing. So I'm just going to start talking like as I usually do. And I want to let you know that when I'm on these panels with these great people, I don't feel like I'm part of this panel. I feel like I'm with all of you because I kind of fangirl out to see everybody sitting here because I don't ever see everybody together. So it's really exciting to see you all. So I've been thinking a lot about what questions I want to ask. And Michael, I'm going to start with you because I don't even know the answer to this question. Let's start by just talking about how does a team come up with a new character? Like, do we pick a region? Do we start with a region first? Do we start with a character first? How do we choose which region? I'm really curious how our journey to find all these amazing people.
Yeah, so usually where we start, there's kind of 3 ways the characters come to being. It's either there is a game mechanic that we're really interested in doing, or sometimes it's just amazing artwork. See the artwork, we know we have to make that into heroes. Sometimes it's story. And that's really where the characters start, and then very quickly after that, we try to, get all of these different aspects of the character together, and we start prototyping, we start messing with them. And then, soon after that, we start the process of trying to find someone to bring the character to life with their voice. And, for the team, actually, when they finally hear the character in game, it's like this magic switch that gets flipped. You're like, oh, now it feels like a real person.
Yeah. So when does the region come into it? Because I swear, I feel like they're trying to punk me every time. I feel like it's a map and you just go, oh, from this country. And every time you bring in a region, like when they brought up Haiti, I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, I don't even know what to do with that. So how do we determine the region and the nationality and that kind of thing?
There's no science to it. I think it's some sort of alchemy. A lot of it comes down to, when we're talking about the character and we talk about the backstory, sometimes we just have impressions or feelings that we start doing a little research, and then, we just see where it all naturally goes.
Yeah. So it's kind of like going with what feels right. Like, let's look at the character, the abilities and so forth, what they might look like, and based on the artwork, maybe he would be from this region or something. Yeah,
and, Overwatch is a game about, the diversity of the world, and so we're really excited to be able to find these heroes, from all walks of life in all different places.
Right. And I mean, we could talk about this all day, but just the diversity in Overwatch makes me really happy, and I think we're all honored and grateful to work on a title that celebrates all of us and all of our varied flavors and so forth. So let's start with our fabulous character, Symetra. You guys have seen her, but you know her maybe a little bit, kind of? So as I was prepping for this session, I was thinking about when we first met, because I think you were one of the characters that we brought on pretty early on. It was when Chris was still with us. And I remember vividly, like it was yesterday, sitting down with you at the recording studio. And as I think you know from my panels enough, that we sit and talk. We don't go, hey, nice to meet you, get behind the script, let's go. Like, let's, cuddle a little bit and talk about who she is. Tell us about that first day when you came in and we started together building Symetra.
So, for any of you who've heard a little bit about the process of actors coming into games, a lot of times we come in not necessarily knowing that much about not only what we're in for as far as the game, but also as far as our characters. So I had a limited amount of information, and I came in, and all of a sudden I see this gorgeous South Asian, like, goddess drawing that they have here, and my heart started beating faster. And then seeing the whole world of the game and realizing how you guys had made her fit in, it was so special, and it felt almost like, okay, now there's a not only is this going to be an amazing job, but there's a great responsibility that comes here, because we just started and I'm already crying. Because to see, when I was growing up, I had Wonder Woman. That was the only thing that looked anything like me, the only female superhero I had to identify with. But suddenly I saw this person that I knew I could identify with, that other people were going to be able to identify with in a way that we weren't used to, and all of the different things that make her unique. And I was floored. And she sounds like almost every disapproving Indian auntie that I've ever had. So I felt very comfortable with her.
Right.
When you wrote, let us discuss your failures, I was like, yes, auntie, let us discuss my failures. I'm sorry, I'm not a doctor. So it was a pretty magical day.
It was great.
It was a pretty magical day. Yeah.
And I think, Michael, you will agree, I think we always talk about this on every Overwatch panel, that we can do all of our pre-planning and our work and our everything, but it's when the actor comes in and brings their connection to their, their Dutch, their Haitian, other backgrounds, that's when you come in, not just as Anjali, but you come in, like you just said, it's a great example of bringing, I don't want to be like the story of your people, but do you know what I mean? Like the background, the connections, the sounds, the memories you have. And I think, Michael, you agree that we can do all our hard work, but it's when the actors come in and bring their life story to the paper, as you just said, that's when it comes together. Michael, do you feel the same way? We do all our work and then they walk in and it's magic.
And you guys created her with such an elegance and a grace, too. The fact that she has the dance, the Bharatnatyam in her background and everything, there was like this, we were able to, I feel like, vibe off of each other and talk a lot about how we wanted her. Like, she's such grace under pressure, and she has this uncanny, very Indian ability to say something very cutting, but you're not sure that you've been insulted. And because it's an elegance and a straightforwardness when she says, "You are not meant for greatness." And you're like, did you just insult me?
Yeah.
Throwing that shade.
So it's just, it feels very, it felt like a very complete thing that you brought, that
It was
you
wonderful.
handed.
So what part of Symetra do you feel, I'm always curious, I'm going to ask all of this, so start thinking. Like, what part of yourself do you feel like you connect with Symetra? Like, I'm curious, because I love knowing that bond between human and character. So what part do you feel like of you comes through in her?
The thing that inspires me the most about her specifically, and also I think is a thing that I have tried to cultivate in myself more, and even more after meeting Symetra, if you will, in the game, is that you look at her background, you look at her life, and she has not had an easy childhood. She did not have necessarily, there were lots of obstacles. She has had a lot to contend with, whether with her own personal abilities, with her history, with being plucked away from the slums, but she's never used it as a reason to stop. It's only been her impetus to create a better world. She's driven forward. I have no idea if she really knows that Vishkar seems to be a little dicey. But regardless, whatever she's doing it because she now has a stronger sense of purpose. And I feel like, I've said this to Michael before, when we started doing Overwatch and all of you took it and ran with it and it became this force to contend with, it was the first time that I felt like my love of acting and my sort of life mission of helping people find their superpower and asking people, what do you want and how do we get it for you? Those two things came in line. And I feel like she is very much like that she is someone who has a single-minded focus of, I know I'm gonna make the world a better place for you. Let's figure out how to do it.
It's great. It's great. I love it. And I have one specific question about Symetra. Michael, at what point did we realize that she would have autism? Like, when did that come about? Did we know that when we started recording? Because I know we didn't talk about it in the early days. And I'm curious how these twists and turns of character development come about.
Well, when we're developing these characters, we really think about them on a lot of different levels. Obviously there's the abilities and there's, how old they are and how they look. But we want these characters to really be a collection of a lot of different characteristics, because what we really want is for people to be able to connect and feel, there's something about every character that they, that resonates with them. And so, early on, we'll come up with a lot of these things, and it will inform the way that we develop and how we write the characters. And then over time, as we're able to get into more and more of these stories, we're able to show more aspects of these characters and help you get a deeper understanding of who they are.
I really love that. I love that we're creating a game that represents the world that all of us see out there and experience, and that's really a great thing. So we love Symetra, so thank you. Yes. And then there's Roadhog. Oh. Josh, that voice. So when did that voice, I want to picture you as a 4-year-old walking around talking with it. Like, where did this voice come from? Like, when did this happen?
I want to say it probably came from, like, my grandfather. He would always have this really deep, my grandfather was superintendent in school districts in the Bay Area. And both he and my father always worked with children. My dad was a principal, and my mom was a kindergarten, first grade special ed teacher. So I feel like, hi, by the way, but I feel like it probably came from Papa and a lot of Inspector Gadget watching Dr. Claw. He's very Dr. Claw.
Yes.
So my experience with Overwatch from the very first day we started building this character has been nothing short of phenomenal and life-changing, and it's made me smile so many times. I owe you guys 1.5 million smiles.
Oh,
yeah.
We love you.
Absolutely.
So, Josh, can we please tell them about the other work that you do across the road from the studio? Because I love that work that you do.
So I have the privilege of being Megatron and Optimus Prime at Universal Studios Hollywood. Yeah. So if you've seen some of the viral videos of Megatron talking about Fortnite and other things, that's been me. And Megatron's a big fan of Overwatch, by the way. So if you come up, he'll... But I've had this amazing opportunity to work in a theme park and meet children from around the world and adults and everyone who love these characters. And I've got to be a part of the Make-A-Wish program. I've got to really work with kids who I get to tell them how brave they are. I get to tell them how courageous they are. And I get to tell them how proud I am of them. And there's not enough of that in this world, so I was really proud to be blessed with that, you know what I mean? And it means a lot, and thank you guys. And I just finished doing some stuff for Halloween Horror Nights also over there. I've done a ton of stuff for Universal Studios, from the voice of the Sorting Hat in the nighttime lights.
What does that sound like? What does it sound like?
Gryffindor! Hufflepuff! Slytherin? Oh, yes. So,
Now do it as Roadhog now.
Gryffindor.
What
is Roadhog? Is Roadhog a Hufflepuff? What do you mean?
Wouldn't that be fun?
Maybe. 1 point for Gryffindor.
So how would you explain Roadhog? Like, I'm going to ask everybody, like, I mean, obviously I'm not sure anybody can connect to that, but...
the hair is what you know what I mean?
Yeah, the hair, there's that. But I mean, I'm curious, when you get into the booth, so, I mean, I'm with you guys all the time, but I never have time to ask you these questions. When you get in there and voice Roadhog, how do you feel? Do you feel you stand differently? I'm just curious about the mental, spiritual, physical experience of Roadhog. How does it feel to you?
It feels, he feels very monstrous, you know? And he feels kind of like, I thought in my mind, Megatron does something like, what would it sound like if a machine was breathing that didn't need air? And that was kind of in my mind when we were creating some of the inhalations of him healing and stuff like that. And I remember when we did a bunch of takes, and then you were like, all right, just let it go and let me hear some laughs. And that's where the...
It's so funny. I remember, Michael, do you remember we got your audition, and I'm like, that can't be somebody's real voice. And I asked his agent 3 times, I'm like, are you sure that's his voice? And it is. So, and when you came in and did that voice, I mean, picture our world, guys. We have this artwork, then Josh comes in and talks like that. I mean, it doesn't get any better. So honored. We love him so much.
One of the things that I really love about what you bring to Roadhog is, you know, I think people see, you know, the strength and the cruelty and everything, but I've always thought that Roadhog there's like sadness there. His story is very sad, and I think you always bring that to life, and I think that's what makes him relatable.
Thank you.
Even with everything else.
Everybody gets to wear a mask sometimes to hide from the world, maybe. You know what I mean? And maybe that's his thing. It's his mask that he wears.
Did you just spoil a movie?
Wrote a voice line there for me.
You heard it, Mike? I'm like, are you just spoiling a movie that's going to be coming out? What's happening? No, but that's a really good point, because it's easy to look at this and go, oh, it's funny, but the sadness and why would somebody mask their face like that? You know, why would somebody go through that? So I think it's a really beautiful point, Michael. I never thought about it myself, that the heart that is beating behind him. So we'll dig into that for sure. So we love you, Josh.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Then there's Mercy. You guys know that character. Woo. I think my heart always flutters when those wings start coming down. Like, that's so beautiful. So Lucy, I mean, it's funny. I had these moments, these strong memories of working that first session with each of you. I think because the first sessions are so strong, because we really sculpt that session. After that, we kind of get in the role of it. But those first sessions are, and I think in our session was remote because you're in New York.
Yeah.
So I remember you coming in and us just talking about the character. So do you remember that day of coming in and like where are you drawing Mercy from? From family? How would you explain what you've sculpted for us?
So first of all, I'll never forget that first session, because you don't get to do a lot of jobs where you find a real interest in you as a person outside of what you're working on, because most of the time there's no time for that, right? But you guys take the time, so that was really special. I did channel my mother also for Mercy, Mom. But for me, what I love about Mercy so much is that she's a real woman, a real person. She has so many dimensions to her. And as an actor, you don't get that a lot. You don't get to play characters that, female characters that have this very feminine, nurturing side, but at the same time have like an inner roadhog. You know, like she's so tough, but she's so full of love at the same time. So I grew up around women like that. I grew up around really strong women. And my mother is one of those strong women that isn't abrasive, though. You know, she's really strong, but very soft. And she's been through so much in her life, but it's not hardened her. And I think for me, that's what Mercy is. She's so full of love, but she is tough, she's educated. She has so many sides to her that make her a real person, and that's what I guess I connect to, and that's what I thrived in when we started working on her, and what I saw as like a real kind of once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, too. And then also, I don't get to play that many German characters because I don't look typically German to people. So that was cool for me, too, to be able to bring that, bring my language. You know, I was born in Germany, and so to bring my native language to the character was really cool, too.
Yeah. And I think, and it's funny about the German thing. I remember, and I might be wrong, Michael, you might remember, or you might remember, I don't know if we were doing a lullaby, but it was really fun because there was something we had to do with singing. There was some German lullaby or poem or something in those early days. And I think we had it, but you knew it as a child, and you brought your own experience of those words. I might be messing this up, Michael. Do you know? Do you remember what I'm talking about? We had to kind of.
I think it was a lullaby.
A lullaby.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it exactly is, but I remember. Yeah, of course. So things like that are so special, right? When you
because
get to
you yourself
tap
knew it.
Exactly, and you get to tap into that, and that does something to you that you can't even put into words. You know, it just it brings out emotions that translate into your voice and to everything that you do from there on with the characters. So it's so special that you guys allow us to do that, because you know that's not that common when you work on things, especially when you have a function, you know, and something that is kind of tight in the way it needs to work. So that's really cool. Yeah,
it's really great. Well, I think with the writing, with the gameplay, with the whole team, but I think it's nice to think that we can put the rough architecture of the character in, and then you fill it in with your own heart. That sounds so hippy-dippy, but we really are. We're kind of doing the rough sketch, and then you fill it with your heart. All six of you have, right? 7, I can't count. You know what I'm saying. But also, I want to make a quick note about Mercy that you brought up. I think she's one of my favorite characters because she runs that what all women face, but we're strong, but we're also nurturing, and we try never to be too much in one area, but all women. And I would argue Symetra didn't go through what she went through. Yeah. She might be able to connect a bit more. But you know, all women are kind of always running that line of strong and powerful, but also we want to cuddle and take care. And I think that all characters do. But Mercy, as the kind of healer of the group, really embodies that. So
yeah, and that's what I find so inspirational about her to young, you know, girls. I always tell them, you don't have to be a man to be tough and to succeed. You don't have to. You don't have to lose your feminine, emotional side. You don't have to lose that, you know? You can be all those things. You don't have to be one certain thing. And that's why I love her so much, because she truly embodies that for me like no other character that I've been allowed to play. Right. So
I think we were all on a panel in New York, and we all agreed that the best way to be a strong woman is to be a strong woman.
Yeah.
Right?
A woman.
Right.
A strong woman,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Woman. Yeah. So we love our Mercy, and she's delicious. And the cosplayers. Have you seen any cosplayers while you're here? But has there been? I haven't not
seen
too
it
much.
But there have been some amazing Mercies. That's
poking
for sure.
eyes out, their wings.
Yeah. Walking sideways. Through people.
That's commitment, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you so much. It's just so fun to celebrate, because when we work together, we do it, but to sit and go, let's talk about it, man. It's great.
Yeah.
And then there's Zenyatta. Oh my God. So, fun fact, I first fell in love with Fyodor, and you might get mad when I tell you that when I talk about this. When we did Mr. Pandaria, we had to find this really charming, cuddly Pandara named Mudmug.
Oh, the Mudmug, yes.
Mudmug. Right, and so Fyodor came in and played this amazing character. It was like a companion in game, and that's when I was like, this human is amazing. But that's when we first fell in love. And you audition, you know, people who get the role, it's because they're talented. I didn't just choose you because I love you, but Fyodor himself, and panels, these people to me embody some, except you're schizophrenic, that's fine, but
that's okay.
But so many of these actors embody who they are, and we'll talk about Sigma and what goes on there, but embody our characters in so many ways. And Fyodor, you've got such a lovely, calm, kind energy. So for you as Zenyatta, and plus the acting, it really came together.
No, that's very kind of you to say, because I'm really not. I think I'm a pretty, you know, chill guy, pretty relaxed in general. But you know, if you catch me on the wrong day on the freeway,
LA traffic.
you know, LA traffic, it can be very not zen. And in fact, so it's been a great thing for me the last couple of years to get to voice this character, because when I go in there, I have to, you know, take a minute to kind of breathe, recenter, relax, and get into the tranquility. And yeah, so it's been great for me. I think he's made me a little more zen, a little more peaceful. That's a
So
good
do you
thing.
find it, because you are a ridiculously talented actor, do you find it challenging at all to play a character that always has to be coming from this very calm place? Because, you know, most when you act, you want to get in the range of human emotion and big, small, and this, but Zenyatta's kind of always here. Do you find that liberating, challenging? What's it like to
You know,
play
it's a little, I do get kind of jealous of like some of the other guys, which are like Josh there or Darren, who get to, you know, just scream their lungs out, except when I'm at a convention and people ask them to say their catchphrase like 1,000,000 times all day.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, it's perfectly fine to say, pass into the iris. I could do that all day long. It's terrific. But I did enjoy the Halloween stuff for the cultist.
Yes.
Because you got to get a little, you know, put a little emotion in there. And that was fun for me.
So what part of Zenyatta do you feel like you connect with? I mean, I know we talked about getting angry on the freeway, but do you feel like there is, you know, a personal question, when you do hit stressful things in life, do you kind of channel into that thing where you just got to take a break, stop? Like, what part of Fyodor do you think comes through?
Well, I think we both share, we both don't juggle. So there's that. And I enjoy baggy pants.
Both love baseball.
Baseball.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, right. You know, I could wear a caftan all day
Right.
if I had my choice. I think just a striving to, I mean, I don't know if I'm putting too much in this, but just he wants to better the world around him, and I feel like that's a noble, you know, thing to strive for, and
It's true.
like to do that myself, you know.
I love that, and I think all characters, I mean, just as we as humans, but I mean, we're all characters in the game are striving to make
Absolutely,
it better.
absolutely.
And we as humans are doing what we can to make it better, too. So that's
Trying to make the
lovely.
world a better place, you know.
Yes,
Right.
that's it. Then there's Batiste. I watched your video on pronunciation. Am I saying it right? I should know by now because you punked me. But say it. Say it. Officially,
Baptiste.
There is the P in it.
Oh,
I thought I was so smart. So it was really fun, and we were talking about this yesterday. Like when everybody here, I think you've all gotten a talk from me. So when I was talking to Ben's, I'm like, I just want you to kind of know what you're getting into with Overwatch. And you know, they come in, yeah, sure. There's gonna be fans. I'm like, no. Can you get your social media in order? Can you just do all that? And let's talk about your first callback you had with us. You came in, and I think, you're like, what is going on here? Because we tried different things. And tell us about your earliest memory of creating a Batiste with us.
The earliest memory is when I was sitting on my manager's desk with this character, and he's like, oh, I was picking up a check, and he's like, before you leave, you want to read for this little thing? And I'm like,
I'm sorry, this little thing. He's here. We called it this little thing.
shout out to my manager.
Josh, you're dead to us wherever you're at. Okay.
I didn't want to make you nervous, probably, you know.
So he said, you want to read for this little thing? And I was literally out the door. I'm like, I don't know, whatever you want. Should I do this thing or what? And then he said, all right, cool. So I sat down, and I did it as fast as I could. The last thing I ever want to do in life is do a French accent. You spend your whole life trying to get away from that, because my French is my first language.
Right.
So I was trying to get away from that my whole life, and then here I am doing a French accent. I'm like, man, this is not good. And so the whole time, we were just trying to run away from it. They call and say, listen, you know, you're in the whatever.
You did. You tried to get away from us.
Yeah, we really did. We tried to get away until the boss lady called. And she told my manager in a nice tone, she said, y'all better fall in line. This is Overwatch.
I did have to play the trump card. Right. Because we're trying to say it, and just to let you know that we're not some jokers off the street. Not that, well, clearly you thought we were, but that's fine.
Blame it on my manager.
Yeah. And then you came for that callback, and we were talking last night, and then you thought that you didn't do well.
Yeah, I didn't think I did well. I thought I was going to get fired. I was like, no, this is not going to work out for me. So, you know, I just did it and didn't really put too much into it, and just said, I had never done it before, so why should this happen now? That's how I looked at it. So I just let it go, and then you guys just kept on calling.
Forcing ourselves on.
Kept calling.
Sound good? So when did it click in? Like, okay, so and then we had our session together. When did it click in that this was something? When did you go, oh my gosh, this is like really coming together?
The first hour we started working together, me and you were like, pulling me all over the place. I didn't know if I was getting it or not getting it. But you were like, it's okay, we're going to find it. We have to take our time to find it. Once we find it, we're going to catch up. Because I was looking at the pages going, we're never going to get through this.
Right.
And then, you know, but there was about 45 minutes in, you were like, okay, that's what I want. Because I kept trying to do this grovelly thing, and you were like, no. You know, I want the happy. I want, you know, you had a certain idea. And it was great because I didn't know what you were trying to get at, so I just zoned in on what you were saying and just followed the instructions. And here I am.
Yeah. It's really great. But it's really nice because, as Mike and Lana always said, you know, we come in with all our pre-production, but we want you to, again, color the coloring book for us. And so it's a matter of, and oftentimes you guys have been through the process. Sometimes we work together because we sometimes don't always know exactly what we want. It's when you come in and, can you try this? Can you add a little this here? And then once I feel like it's a cooking recipe sometimes. Sprinkle this in, sprinkle that in, mix it, put it in the oven, and then we get Baptiste.
There we go. Actually, you don't remember, you asked me, you said, Vince, how would you say this word?
Right.
How would you say this?
Yes.
And I looked at it, and I read it like an English person would read it.
Right.
If I was speaking French, then I would say Batiste.
Yes.
Because the P is going to be silent no matter what. But in English, I don't know another word that has a silent P.
Right.
So if I'm speaking English, I got to say Baptiste.
Right, okay.
So nobody's wrong, everybody's right. You can say Baptiste, or you can say Batiste.
So, Michael, I'm curious from your perspective, how did this character come to life? He's fascinating. There's like heartbreaking story behind him and everything. I'm just curious about the genesis of him.
You know, we were looking to do a new support character, and I think when we were looking at the lineup, we saw that we had a number of kind of benevolent healers. And so I think what we really were looking for is kind of a different take on a healer, and that's where we came up with Baptiste, because we're like, oh, what about a healer for the baddies? And then I think we just thought it would be interesting to show this arc that his character's on, and that's really where it started.
It's fascinating. So, Benz, for you, how do you feel? And I really do feel if someday I'm going to get everybody to the studio or get the studio cam I'm talking about. You guys won't give any secrets away, will you, if you watch a session? We're fine. But I really want to talk about, what you bring to it and how you connect to him, because I think that this is a tragic character, I think. And so I want to know how, when you physically walk in the booth, because we record you mostly from Montreal, and the door closes and you've got to go into the Batiste headspace, how do you connect with him? How do you view him? How do you relate to him?
I mean, for me, I try to, I tell my friends, my brain is a 1 gig hard drive. So I only keep the information I need to use like in the next 5-10 minutes. So I clear my head, and I walk in there, and I wasn't thinking about the macro. I was only focused on the micro, because I figured out early on that you guys know what you're doing. So I figured, hey, they chose me for a reason. You better man up and don't get fired. So that was my mission, though, every session, right?
Don't get fired.
Yeah.
That's
well, because you had this line, and you were like, giving you your angel wings, and
I remember that.
And I kept saying something not like the way you wanted it. So at night I was like, giving you your angel. And I was literally going, I'm not going to make it to the next session. But yeah, no, it was definitely fun for me, to be able to finally listen, because when I'm on a film and TV set, I never listen. And that's the beauty of this, is that I actually became very docile, because when you're a rookie, you sort of can't flex the way you normally would want to flex. So it gave me a chance to get back to the theater, back to the breathing, back to the training, because when you're on film and TV, you walk in, you do your thing, and they love it. Not in this scenario. You have to sort of earn it. So I like that.
I love it.
And I especially love the exertions.
Oh, yes. Those are tough. We haven't talked about those yet. No. And so for you, but how do you view him? Do you feel like I'm a soldier? Do you feel like he's vulnerable? Do you feel tough? In those times, like, how do you just roughly kind of picture him, and how does he relate to you? What part of you relates to him?
Well, I mean, listen, no part of him relates to me, and that's why, for me, what I wanted to get at was, okay, once I started looking at him, I'm like, first of all, he's better looking than I am, which I don't like. The other thing is, I'm like, that costume just gave me so many, it was confusing me. That's what I'm saying. I can't put too many stuff in my head. So I said, take the picture away. I don't want to see the picture. Just tell me what I got to do.
Right.
And then, so for me, I keep it very, very simple. I know it's not everybody's process, but the beauty about this game is that there is no right or wrong way to get to the finish line as long as you get there. So again, in fact, in terms of him being a healer, which I did not know what that meant, of him being a soldier, I did not know what that meant, but I realized early on that there was fragility. There was a something that was on both sides, which allowed him to say, you want a bandage or a bullet, right? So he's got to be able to do both. And once I realized that, all right, cool. So what I'm bringing is already there. Just follow the track. I know it's not as exciting as an answer, but it really, really, really is. I followed the direction and finally made it here without getting fired. So that's what's up.
And I threatened to ask you about this. Fun fact, Benz, I told you I was going to bring it up, but I want you to tell us about your hip-hop days and your emceeing skills that you have, because he's legit. He's legit. So just fill us in on that really quick, because I want him to rap in the game sometime, because Benz does rap, so that needs to happen, Michael. So yes, Benz?
I mean, rapping, technically, before I became an actor, I was a rapper. And then I realized I wasn't making any money, so then I quit. But anyway, back to that. So, you know, I started making a couple LPs, a couple singles and videos and stuff.
Can we still buy them?
You probably can if I tell you the name.
What's the name?
I don't know if I want to tell you the name. Can you guys keep a secret?
Yes.
All right. The name of the group was called The Freshmen. Like, you know, yeah, like first year of college. So we were like, I had a six-pack back then. I ain't got that now. But I had it back then. We had little, you know, underwears, the jeans sagging and everything. So all that experience, I said, you know, the camera's cool, but this music in the background is bothering me, and it's not paying me. So I got to go. So then I got into acting, and so what helped me, which was interesting about this role, being in the booth, that's what I had to rely on, because I was able to manipulate. I was saying, okay, you can do this. You know this environment, you know? And so that was, for me, what I relied on to get through this, because, you know, yeah, those exertions are crazy. So I had to figure out a way to, you know, to give all that without moving, without jumping, without walking in, without wearing a $3,000 suit. It's all about the voice, which is back to basics again, back to the theater training. So, you know, I don't usually give eloquent answers, so you're making me work hard today.
But you said something really nice. You said there's no right or wrong. I think that was very eloquent and very the money, because we're not going in going, it has to be this. We're going to explore together. So I think that is very eloquent, and that was wonderful. So thank you. We're happy to have you. You're not going to get fired, Ben. Not yet. Don't screw up the next session. I love all our movies, but man, I felt crazy recording the VO for Sigma's piece, but that final Sigma cinematic that we have is bananas, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I really want to give it up for Boris, because I gotta say, that was a tough cinematic to record, because as you know, he's breaking down. And so before I even get to that, how has it been for you? And I think I warned you about this.
Yes.
So now you're here.
Yes. It's been absolutely insane.
Yes.
In the best possible way. I mean, yeah, you said, oh, you better get your Instagram ready, and I wasn't doing much on Twitter, and it's gonna blow up, it's gonna be amazing, it's gonna be big. And I took it with a pinch of salt, and I thought, yeah, whatever, this is just, you know. I knew Overwatch was a big deal, but I had no idea that it was this. And of course, that's what makes it, right? It's the fans and the people who play it that make the game what it is. And it's just, I had no idea. And it's been absolutely amazing. And the amount of love and kind of like messages and people saying like, oh, this is amazing and I love this. And it's just been insane. I did not expect that at all.
It's been great. So how do you view Sigma? Because he's a very complex character. So if you were just to kind of spitball how you view him and how you connect to him, what your take on him is, how do you feel about him? Exactly.
He's very fractured and very messed up, and he's a bit of a tragic character, which is what drew me to it, because I love that kind of stuff. It was a bit, I felt that it was much darker than some of the other characters, and I love the darkness a little bit. So I thought, ooh, this is juicy. It's really nice material to sink your teeth into, you know. It's a really meaty, complex part. And yeah, it's just so much fun.
It's wonderful.
So much fun. But what that is, I mean, I know that when I first saw the design, he's obviously a badass. He's not to be messed with. He's got an arrogant face, and just like, you know that you're gonna die if you mess with this guy. So, you know, it might have been logic to try to match that vocally, and to just, but then I thought, you know, then it becomes like a bit of a cardboard cutout character, because then it becomes just a loud, like, I'm gonna kill you, and do something a bit more vulnerable and subtle, and just try to, I don't know, just to make him a bit more relatable and bring in some real traits. So even though he's this crazy, insane game character, I just thought, let's just pretend he's a normal guy, like he's me.
And that's what I think, you bring up a good point. I think, if he was that voice the whole time, but he's also so fragile.
That's the thing.
We had to walk that line in session. He can be when he goes to the dark place, but then when he's not, he's like a little broken bird,
Yeah. It was, I think we talked about a lot, we talked about up and down and left and right and yin and yang and good and evil and just opposites. And I wrote down the words conflict and contrast, and I kept looking at those words as we were recording to kind of bring me back to, insanity, really. And, but yeah, giving him a vulnerability, I think was a good idea, to make him feel like he's constantly about to break and about to crack.
And I think, all of us as humans also have those days too, when some days we just can't hold on. And so there's such a beauty and a poetry to all these characters as I look at the screen, because there's a darkness and tragedy to them, but they keep going and they keep pushing forward and they keep hanging on, white knuckling it,
Yeah.
And I have to give a big shout out to Boris, and you could talk about this. That cinematic was one of the hardest I've done, because okay, read it fast, read it slow, read it loud, read it scared, remember? And then as you guys saw it, we interwove it, so it's all these disconnected moments. So how was that for you as an actor? Did you feel discombobulated? Was it exciting, hard?
No.
How was it for you? Because I was worried about you, because it was
bananas.
I
remember you telling me, you're UK, this must be crazy for you, and you probably don't know what the hell, what is this and what's going on? And I thought it was actually it made perfect sense to me to do it we had 3 or 4 different kind of modes, and so we had the very fragile and scared little bird and the little crystal character about to crack, and then we had several things in the middle, and then we had what we call God mode, when we went out full out and went nuts with him. And that's when I lost my voice a couple of times.
That's right, you did.
Because we were just screaming and shouting. And it made sense to me. I mean, in fact, what worried me is to not do it that way. Because if like you said, you do what you're told, sometimes that makes sense. You need to have that structure. And I knew that he had to go into so many different places. And if I had to do all of that in one read and decide each time where to go with it and somehow magically put that together in one take, I don't think it would have been, I'm not a strong enough actor, I think, to be able to do that. So to have all these different variants of expressiveness and extremeness, if that's a word, that made me feel much more comfortable with it, because I can do one thing. So if we do that 4 times in 4 different ways, then you guys have got all the material you need to cherry pick what's right for what particular moment and then put it together in the end. And that is probably also why it really knocked me back when I saw the final thing, because I didn't know what you were going to use and what you were going to discard. So when I saw it, I thought,
Did you make that sound?
Yes, exactly that sound.
We all did.
I thought it was incredible. I think you guys did. So, we obviously bring a little bit to it, but I think credit has to go to Michael and you and the other Blizzard wizards to create these characters and to because I think it was pretty well defined before I was ever in the picture. So the job on that cinematic, man, the editing and the sound design is so tight that it just gives you kind of goosebumps. Even though I was part of it, it really works. So well done to you guys. Jesus.
Oh, it's so good, so good. So I'm going to try to fit in. I'll have like a couple minutes maybe for 3 questions, because we do want to try to get a Q&A. But I want to open it up real quick. So I want to just ask you, what's it been like on your Overwatch journey? Anybody who wants to open it up and talk about it? Anything you want to say? Because we're all on this journey together. None of us could have expected this. So I just want to talk about what Overwatch means to you and how it's been.
Wow.
So much. I think so many things that either Michael or you or Jeff have said have stuck with me, and one of the biggest ones is this is a world worth fighting for. And especially now when times are hard for a lot of people, and they have been throughout time, but we're in a particularly difficult time, it feels like right now. There are a lot of people going through it, and to remember that like to have this embodiment of there are challenges in the world, it is rough, there are things that are hard, but when you still focus on the prize, you focus on the payload, you focus on what you need and come together to do it, there is a payoff. Just to have this very simple but powerful representation of that means so much, and that it comes from all of these characters that are not any one, they're not defined by any one part of who they are. They are a sum of so many unique things, and that all of us are that. And if you get to see, if you can identify with a hero, then you can identify the hero in yourself, and you can take that out into the world. And I've seen people doing that with this game in a way that blows my mind on a regular basis. And it's made me feel like I need to step up to be a part of this family on a regular basis. I mean, we all spend so much time together, and even when Benz and Boris came on, it was immediately like, we got you. Talk to us, what do you need? The fact that we have this in real life now, it's just a huge, it's changed the game.
I love it, I love it. Well, I'd love to go through all of you, but what I think that I want to hear, everybody's got their note cards here with some game lines, and I love hearing you do your lines, your voices. You know what we should do? We should switch everybody's cards so that they're not their lines, but in their voices.
Yes!
Oh.
Can I just do
I don't know.
I want Roadhog.
You want to, what do you want to hear, the original, or you want to swap them? Swap it. Here, watch. Give me your cards. Give me your cards.
We already said them as
We're just going to divvy them up.
Mix them up, and we're just going to see what happens in this crazy world of you. Okay, but if you tell me if you get your own.
But in our voices, right?
Is that yours?
Yes.
Is that yours?
What's my
Nope.
voice?
Great.
Aha.
Great.
Yes!
Great. And great.
Excellent.
All right.
Now, do you want us to swap, to say this
No,
other
say it in
person's
your voice,
line?
but it's going to be their... Do you want them to do their voice or to make their... No, let's do it in their voice.
Do it
in their voice. In their voice, yeah? In your voice, but those lines.
All right. Am I first? Is that why you asked the point?
Yes.
I do seem to be making a habit of saving you. It's a good thing I like you.
Just one?
Just one? Or just...
Oh, Josh, do you want to go, Josh?
All right.
Time is a river. It may be stopped for a while. Always flow in the same direction. Yeah.
Take him out of the job.
They called me a monster, so I'll be a monster.
Is there any more? Is that it?
Oh, there's more. I love this one. Say bacon one more time.
Great. Theodore, it's all you, baby.
A medic's job is never done, unfortunately. What about the bandages?
Would you want a bandage for that?
Oh. You want a bandage for that?
Or a gun.
Or a bullet.
Yes. Great, all right.
Not to be academic, but I believe that one would call this being on fire.
Got another one?
The stars are like the trees in the forest, alive and breathing, and they're watching us.
Such a poet. Wow. Such a poet, all right. Here you go, Boris.
I just got goosebumps.
This actually sounds like Sigma.
Okay, well, go for it. Just do whatever you want to do.
Freedom is a convenient illusion.
Do them all. Do it. Let's go. Finish it off.
Beauty can be found where everything is in harmony.
Auntie approves.
And then we have, my purpose is to create order. You are the embodiment of chaos.
Great. That's awesome. All right, we might have time for one question. Is there anybody lined up for questions or not yet?
Oh, yeah,
or right there. You right there in the wig. Or what? Maybe that's your real hair. I can't tell. Sorry. There's no. Is there a mic stand? What's happening? Right there. Is there somebody lined up? No. Can we bring a mic to this gentleman here?
Oh, there he goes.
Right here. Right here.
76.
Dad needs a mic.
I'm not your dad.
It's gonna be the best question ever with our 15 seconds left.
Got speed round, speed round.
This better be epic. Just kidding. I don't even know what. Oh, okay, we got somebody. Sorry about that. I didn't know there was a line. What can we do for you?
Okay. This question has for Michael Chu, and I've been wondering this for the past couple of years. Is Reaper Mexican?
Yeah, so Gabriel Reyes is from Los Angeles, so he's technically American, as you may have noticed from his recent very patriotic skin. Yeah, but certainly he has like a Latin Hispanic descent.
Okay. Yes! All right, I wish we had more time. I love you so much. Next time we're going to do 3 hours, right, guys? 3 hours. Let me just say goodbye to you. Let's stand up. Let's say goodbye to everybody. Thank you. That's our panel. Thank you. We love you so much. And same time next year.